Okay, YouTube, this is going to be a quick video about an annoying locomotive of mine. This is a Proto 2000 GP9. These are made in the 90s and up until like 2005, I think. This one has been modified with a DCC chip in it. I bought it at a train show for 40 bucks. When running slowly, it was dead silent and it was beautiful. What I've discovered when I got it home, and it's been a couple years since I bought it, is that above about 15 miles an hour scale speed, it went squeak, 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 squeak. And I've been chasing this thing down. I took the double stick tape off. So real fast, well, since I'm here, this is going to be a quick takedown of it. Take one of these apart. A couple things you got to do. First of all, the fuel tank comes off. It's actually stuck on here by the manufacturer with double stick tape. So you pop that off. Don't worry, you're not going to bust it as long as you hold onto the tank part of it. And then there's 4 screws you have to remove. No, sorry, I'm doing this wrong. After you pull that off, there's 2 screws you need to remove. And those screws are located here on the shell. And on the body, they're going to be mounted right... Come on, focus. Yeah, one goes in this hole on one side of the air tanks, and one goes on the other side of the air tanks. Okay. So once you take those 2 screws out, you still have 4 tabs if they've survived. 1, 2, 3, and 4. As you can see from mine, they're pretty much gone. You don't need them. The things will. Oh, before I forget, the thing you got to do, get the shell off these. You'd have to take the couplers off and you need to pull them through or disassemble them inside and pop them out. A bit of advice, if you're going to do that, make sure to put them inside a container you can remember you took them out in. Okay, if you find, this is becoming a total teardown video, one of these, if you find that you need to take this metal piece off, the only reason I can think why you would want to do that is so you can get into the gear mechanism and lubricate it from the top. If you want to pull this cast metal piece off, note that whoever did this, I just retaped it, but whoever did this, they just taped the decoder on. If you want to get this, disconnect this from the frame, flip it back over, you need to pull 4 screws, and those 4 screws are located. One's here, it's got its opposite at the other end, and then there are these 2 long brass bolts. They're about a 1/2 inch long or so. Note that those are flatheads. Alright, now that we've done all that, back to the problem I've had with this locomotive. Even after I pulled the frame off, even after I detected everything, even after I lubed the hubs, squeak, 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 and it drove me nuts. So I ran it around a circle long enough that I realized it was the long head end. You can tell the long head end because it's all the way up, and this is the short hood end, which, you know, they designed it so if you wanted to do chop nose, you could. Note on this one, the light bulbs don't work. Whoever modified this before me changed that out. Maybe I'll fix it someday. I really don't care. I'm not going to model in the dark. So back to the other side. So it's down to what's going on. Where am I broken? Now you can see a little bit of oil leaking through. I put a little too much in there. I'll have to clean it up. Here is ultimately what went wrong with this thing. And where it broke, and I'll show you how I fixed it. There's a screwdriver. The gauge of one of these 2 wheel sets was not right. The space between the wheels was a little bit tight. So I put them in gauge, but even after I put them in gauge, which, oh, by the way, all you have to do to put them in gauge is just, so this is a bearing right here, the square piece, just kind of wedge in there a little bit, or actually behind the bearing, either way, and just pull it out a little bit. It'll space them out, and you can, you know, squeeze them back in if you get too far. So they were a little out of gauge. I thought, oh, great, okay, I figured it out. They're good, they're done. No more squeaks. Wrong, still squeaked. And this is the part that drove me nuts. Now, I'll show you where the problem is in a second, but I have to put the phone down. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the side frame off. And then when I pull the side frame off, I'll show you the part that caused all the headache. And I'm guessing that the guy who had this before me probably ran into the same problem. Didn't realize he put it back together essentially backwards and got fed up with it and sold it for cheap. So let's pause this and I'll be right back. Actually, no, I'll tell you what I got to do here. So to pry these off, you just got to get under between the silver and the plastic and just pry them off. Can't do this with one hand, so I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. And I pulled the side frame off. Like I said, I just pried it out. you'll see the side frame's got 3 holes in the back. Come on, focus on the device, not my finger, please. There we go. You see there's 3 plugs. There's a pin, kind of two holes. The pin goes into the center hole, and those 2 other holes clip over the top of these 2 pegs. This is where it went wrong for the previous guy. There's a piece in here, which I'm just going to refer to as the bat spacer, because it looks like, you know, something from Batman. Let me set that down so you get a better look at it. Okay, and you're going to notice something about this bat spacer in a second here, if I can get to focus. Come on, focus. There we go. All right, is that there's an unfinished side, and there's this nice smooth finished side. Here's what I think happened with this guy's locomotive, and I think this is where it made the squeaking. What you do is this bat spacer, sorry for the jump there, this bat spacer goes on to that post and then around those 2 holes. Okay, what I think happened is that it's intended that the smooth finished side goes against, let's try that again, that the smooth finished side should go against the silver metal of the truck. And the unfinished side goes against the side frame. Ignore this locomotive, that's another video. So what happened was when I pulled this off, I realized the guy had both of these unfinished side towards the metal. This in turn pushes this thing up this way against the wheels. That's where my squeaking was coming from. It was literally the wheels were literally, one was out of gauge and it was rubbing against this piece because there's just that little tolerance. So I'm going to put this back on. I'm going to put it back on with the unfinished side up. And I can't do this with the camera, so I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back, and you can see there's unfinished side up. You can tell because it's ugly. And then we're just going to go ahead, we're going to grab the truck, making sure that we've already adjusted the wheels so they're in gauge. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to pop the side frame back on. And we're good to go. So, again. And we're reassembled. I know. Cuts stink when you can't get it. I'll get a tripod someday for this. When you push the truck back on, make sure to do it from the center, like this. Don't squeeze at the end, because you can knock your wheels out of gauge if you're not careful. So again, center them in. And that's about it. I mean, to put this back together, I'm going to put some fresh double stick tape on here to get the fuel tank back on. I got to drop the shell back on, put the screws back in. But yeah, so... And this should be about the same thing for an Athearn, if I remember correctly, because they're very similar trucks. I mean, they use the same gears in some cases. Yeah, that's it, guys. Hope you learned something. If not, well, this is for me later when I get to my next one that doesn't work. Later, bye.